Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Beyond the Case, which is a podcast where global leaders from the Harvard Business School's OPM community join in a personal capacity and share the real decisions, mental models, failures that went behind building enduring companies for them. My guest today is Aiman Khorakiwala. She is the CEO of InGene Organics. Aiman, welcome. This is the first in-person podcast episode that I'm recording. We just had lunch together. Aiman, do you want to introduce yourself and just tell us who you are, what you do?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Aiman Khorakiwala. I live in Mumbai and currently we're sitting in a store that is more than 100 years old. It's called Akbarally's at Fort, which is one of the oldest hearts of the city. And I run the store and I also am the CEO of InGene Organics, which is an agro inputs company. We sell to farmers in India. We sell them crop protection chemicals, biostimulants, seeds, and everything that they need to grow a healthy crop.
I mean, you grew up in a business family at the intersection of retail and pharma. Do you think growing up the way you did and seeing leaders in the family, entrepreneurs in the family, shaped your mindset towards choosing a career path that you are on today?
So, Sohan, I didn't ever think I would be part of a family business. Actually, I didn't really know what I was going to do. But growing up in a business environment, we had so many family businesses. You're constantly exposed to that kind of chatter and banter. We used to attend company dinners and inaugurations and launches. And as little children, in fact, for Akbarally's, when they launched children's wear, we were made the models, probably to save some cost of getting child models. But so we've been part of the family businesses. And so it almost feels organic that I joined the family business.
At what age did you know that you were probably going to, work in the family business?
It was after I graduated from college. I studied genetics in America. This was the time when the agrochemicals company was also taking off. So I thought it was a good chance for me to come and just get some exposure. At that time, I used to travel a lot in the rural markets. I still do. So it gave me a lot of exposure. This is when I entered the agrochemicals business.
And looking back at your journey now, are there any assumptions you had about entrepreneurship beforehand, which you think may have been false?
Yes, for sure. Because I think when you're younger, when I was younger as an entrepreneur, I thought having a good product is sufficient. I thought having a product that works, an innovative product, something that's scientific is enough. And once a customer buys it, they will keep buying it because they will see the advantages and the benefits to their life. But this is so far from the truth. I've learned along the way. There's so much more to running a business. It's not just about once the customer buys it and uses it. It's about processes and people and distributors. And there's so much back-end communication that goes into selling to a customer before he makes that first purchase. So I think this is a misconception that if you just have a good product, it's sufficient. It's really not.
Talking about InGene Organics, was there a gap you noticed between the needs for the farmers and what they require and what was available in the market?
So farmers in India, the productivity of farmers in India is much, much lower compared to the rest of the world. So there's still a lot of scope for farmers to produce more per acre or per hectare. So I wouldn't say it's a gap, but there's a lot of education required in the farming community to boost productivity. So one of our main products is a biostimulant, which is a seaweed-based biostimulant that we need to educate the farmers to use to boost their yield. So this is a product that my family business came up with in the 1980s, actually. And we were the pioneers in selling this back then in India. And it takes a lot of education and on-ground efforts to tell the farmers what this product is. It's like a multivitamin for human beings, right? Like a little bit of education is required. So farmers don't need it. They can grow their crop without this product. But if they use it, they boost their yield maybe 10 or 15%.
Does this increase the cost in any way?
Yeah, it does. But I mean, the cost benefit is the benefits outweigh the costs.
How do you go about a sales cycle like that? Because in India, farmers struggle a lot economically, and now you're selling a product to them which may add to their short-term costs but give them long-term dividends. How do you go about helping a farmer realize what's beneficial for them considering the long game?
See, farmers in India, same way as consumers in India, there are all kinds of consumers. There are all kinds of farmers as well. Farmers are not stupid. They are very, very clever. They're business people. They know exactly how much they need to spend and what kind of yield to expect. I'm making a general statement. Of course, there are farmers that have large land holdings that are very scientific about their growth, their fields. And then there are marginalized farmers as well. So Our product targets high-income farmers, the ones with large land holdings, and the mid ones. The farmers with very, very small land holdings, it's much harder to convince because they get scared to spend money. But we explain the financials to them. We tell them, look, you spend this extra 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees on your field, and this is how much you will get. This will be the return on your investment. If you explain it to them, and then their fellow farmer tells them, hey, you know what, I used this last season, and this is the amount I made that was extra. And then they talk to each other. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to try it. And then we do demos to show them. So there's a lot of field activation that happens to demonstrate to them that, look, this is a good product for you. It's been many years we've been doing this. So there is an awareness about biostimulants in agriculture.
When you think about taking certain important decisions at work, how do you filter noise from what's important?
That's a good question. For me, decision making is very rooted in whatever strategy we have decided in the beginning of the year. We spend a lot of time thinking of the year, how it's going to go from a strategic point of view, and the next 3 years. We allocate our resources accordingly. So there are a lot of ideas and a lot of chatter that happens during the year. During decision making, I always kind of go back to what is our strategy for the year. Do we have resources for this initiative? Had we planned it? I'm a little bit disciplined about that. I'm not completely rigid, but there is certain discipline around it. I love to play to our strengths. I see in which markets we have our strength, or which areas we are strong. So we have a lot of data. We have fantastic processes. We are so strong in certain regions in the country. So depending on that, we make decisions.
You are working in an industry which is traditionally spearheaded by men, and you're from a minority community in India. So how do you keep yourself focused and own the narrative when it comes to taking decisions and making your spot in the industry?
As I've gotten older, it's been advantageous to be a woman. Although when I was younger, I thought it was a disadvantage being surrounded by men, and men always think they're smarter than women. So, they always try to kind of kill your voice in a boardroom. I think age and wisdom helps. I think it's an advantage now to be a woman because there are very few women in the agricultural space, and we're given a platform very easily. Being a minority community, it's not really something that is on the top of my mind because I think India has a lot of business families from all kinds of communities. And I think if you're in business, it really doesn't matter who you are.
You're a third generation, multi-generational.
Yes.
Was there ever the pressure of living up to standards your prior generation has set for you?
So, yes, there are a lot of successful businessmen, but they're all businessmen. I think mine is the first generation of businesswomen. So in that sense, there's no real benchmark. We're setting the benchmarks in the family.
You're also a parent. So how do you go about balancing your professional aspirations with your personal life? Are there any playbooks you have in terms of making sure you allocate the required amount of time for personal growth and family time as well?
100%. If my family isn't happy, or I can't be happy. But my kids are now teenagers, but when they were younger, I used to have to balance my time. There was a lot of guilt as well. But they're older now, so things have gotten easier. I think it's important for women to struggle through that time when the kids are young, because if you lose that time and you say, you know what, I'm just going to take a break from work, and that's probably in your 30s, but that's a very important phase for your growth, even in your career. So if you're able to balance out your family and your career aspirations, I think when the kids grow up, you're in a better place to kind of go on working. It is tough. Women do have it a bit harder. The expectations are more. We're balancing out too many things. Family expectations from children, from school. Plus, you're expected to work like a man, travel like a man. So it is tough. I think my mind is focused on my goals. So it's easier when you're that focused.
You're an avid scuba diver. So is there anything from how you spend your time underwater which has influenced how you stay calm and focused?
Yeah, underwater you have to stay silent. You can't speak, which is actually the kind of person I am. I like to listen with my leadership team as well when we brainstorm ideas. I'm the last one to speak. I let everyone else voice their thoughts and tell me what they think before we reach a decision on something. I think that's a strength that I have. And I don't really impose. I like to have everyone's buy-in when we're doing something. So, and definitely you need this kind of patience when you're dealing with so many different personalities at work.
At InGene Organics, I believe you're in leadership with your father.
Yes.
So that's two different schools of thought.
Yeah.
From two different generations. How do you go about balancing youth and the energy that you might bring with more discipline that your father might have?
Yeah.
Do you all clash on decision making at times? And are there any workflows you all have in terms of making sure you all still come to an agreement?
Yeah. There are a lot of things I have learned from my father. And one of them is how to delegate and how to trust other people and get ideas from everywhere. So that is something that I have picked up from him, and I think it works fantastically. So my people are very empowered. But at the same time, you're right about the generational difference and the youth energy that you would say. We have differed, but my father is also the kind of person who invites things that are different from his thinking. He's allowed me to make a lot of mistakes. I'm different in the way I look at my business. I'm very, very, very profit focused and very bottom line focused. Even at the cost of the top line. My father is not like that. Like, he prefers to scale up, and of course, bottom line is important, but I'm very, very hyper focused on that. So I've made certain decisions that he hasn't agreed with me because we have these different philosophies. But I think everyone has their own style of doing business.
Yeah.
And in my family, we are all allowed to kind of express our style.
Talk to me about your morning routine. Once you wake up, what do the first 90 minutes look like for you?
I wake up 5:30 and my trainer comes at 6. I go down to the gym. I finish my workout early in the morning. Then I come back up and I practice the art of living Kriya. So my body and mind are worked on first thing in the morning. Then I have breakfast with my husband, which is sacrosanct. That's our morning date every morning, where we talk about what's going on in our lives and discuss other things. This is how I take care of myself, and this is how I remain balanced and go about my day.
What led you to meditation or the art of living?
I have been on my spiritual journey since my early 20s. And I found that the art of living, it's a 20-minute breathing exercise that they teach you. I find it to be extremely beneficial. It's just 20 minutes. You wake up, you do the practice, and you're done with it. I just find it balances out my mind beautifully.
And do you see that affecting the quality of decisions you take throughout the day?
And 100%. I feel the difference the days I don't do it. I feel it. It just keeps my mind super clear.
Any advice you have for your younger self, the 22-year-old self who might have been looking to start off on a professional journey right now?
Yes, definitely. A 22-year-old is very insecure. A 22-year-old girl, insecure, worried about what people are thinking of her, worried about making the right and wrong decisions. So what I would tell her is, there's no right and wrong. You just have to keep moving, keep doing things, and it's okay to make mistakes. The important thing is to keep rolling so that you don't gather any moss. It's okay to make mistakes.
What led you to Harvard Business School, OPM? Were you referred by someone?
A lot of my friends have done it. I'm constantly doing some course or the other. I love upskilling myself. I think I'm a better leader for it.
Any strong takeaways from the program that you still find yourself talking about or maybe implementing at work?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Customer centricity is something that has been in my family ever since this retail store was there. Like, so many years back, I've grown up with signs in the store saying customers king or customers always right. But in the OPM program, we really understood what that means, the way we were taught it. And I think that identifying your customer, knowing exactly who, it's not necessarily the person eventually who's going to use your product. There are customers throughout your value chain, and understanding how to serve that customer. That is something that has really stayed with me, and I'm trying to implement it.
How did your companies perform while you were away at OPM? Were you anxiously monitoring the performance, or were you a little more carefree and you had trust in the leadership?
Yeah, no, I wasn't tensed at all. As I said before, I'm someone who really, really tries to align my leadership with our strategy, and I delegate a lot. I think my leadership team is really empowered. So I wasn't stressed at all. Everything went absolutely smoothly.
Are there any non-negotiables you have when it comes to striking a new partnership or a new hire? Is there anything you would absolutely say is a no-no?
I think that when I look to hire people, I look for certain traits. Of course, merit is important and experience is important, but I look for people who are hungry to learn, who like to work hard, open-minded, and communicate well. Because in this country, there's so many different languages and dialects and things that are spoken, that clarity in communication is very important. Non-negotiables for me are integrity. I think integrity is something that is absolutely non-negotiable. And I've learned this from my father as well. I've seen so many incidents happen. And if a person doesn't have integrity, you can't do anything with that person. It doesn't matter how qualified they are.
How do you take long-term decisions? Decisions in your industry for InGene Organics could probably take decades to play out, but you have to be patient in the meantime.
Yeah.
So how do you go about that journey and keep yourself focused on the long-term goal?
So since I'm in the business of agriculture, we know that you plant a seed and then you wait for 3 months for the produce. So I'm well versed with patience, as my customers are, and we encourage our customers to work on the soil quality the same way we work on developing our people, our processes, our products, our portfolio, our communication. Patience is second nature in our industry. I stay very, very rooted in our strategic vision. And we take a lot of time to come up with that. There's a lot of brainstorming that is done to in the beginning of the year. And so we just have to stay the path. That's all.
Do you have any advice for science entrepreneurs focused on the science field in India if they were starting out today?
I think a lot of people are doing some amazing things. Very young people are doing fantastic, but product is not enough. Product is not enough. There's so much more that goes into running a business. And sometimes I think one gets so excited about a new product that they think it'll sell on its own. The back end, the people, the organization, the efficiencies, the processes, all that matters, So I would say, like, take it slow, be cautious. Don't rely on customers automatically buying your product because you think it's something new.
Sales makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to make a sale.
Yeah.
Right? There's so much competition. Sometimes we don't even know who our competitors are. You would think your competitor is someone, but it's actually someone completely different.
Does competition play on your mind when you're taking decisions?
I know what's happening in the industry, but I would say yes, of course, it's at the back of my mind, but my decisions are made purely with an internal environment in mind and how aligned we are to something. I feel that you can be selling something that is a very regular product without any innovation, but the way you do it could be different. You could have a differentiator in your process. You could have a differentiator in the way you are looking at your customers or communicating with your customers. There are so many ways you can differentiate from your competition that it's okay to just remain focused on your strengths.
Both of your companies, the buck stops with you. You are probably the final say.
Yeah.
So how do you check the quality of your decisions? Who keeps you in check?
My numbers.
Your numbers.
My numbers. It's as simple as that. Data doesn't lie.
Lastly, any book you would recommend?
Simply a book I read, The Psychology of Money. I think this is a book everyone should read. It's fantastic. I started my investment journey a couple of years back. And this book has been a major, major eye-opener. I think everyone who has money to invest should read that book.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Aiman.
Thanks,
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.